Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Spectre Comics first art stream. Just testing the sound. Starting over. Set up here. Okay, says we're live. I think it's working. Welcome to my first art stream. I'm going to be working on Spectre Comics issue 7, page 1, and we're just going to do some drawing. I'm going to talk about the comic, talk about some other things, whatever pops in my head. And if you're here for the first time, being this is the first broadcast, it's everybody's first time. But if it's their first time on my channel, feel free to drop a comment in, and hope you enjoy. So this is going to be a short art stream because being the first one, I'm just kind of trying it out. And I am working on, as I said, Spectre Comics issue 7. This is the first page that I'm inking. I've done a little work on this page already. The title of this issue is called The Ori. The Ori are the enemy of this story, and for the first time we're really confronting their leader and a lot of this stuff that's going to happen in this issue. And Spectre Comics is an 8-issue story. This is issue 7 of 8, and for the first time we're actually meeting the leader of the Ori. The Ori are, again, the bad guys of the story. So I've worked on a bunch of this page already. The first panel is the mining facility on an asteroid in the Alari sector of space, and it is a facility where slave labor has been wrought to. The Spectre are on a mission to find their missing colleagues who were kidnapped to work in this facility. So right now I'm drawing the captain for the first time. He is Captain Gorgo. He's this character right here. And the Ori foot soldiers are these guys over here. So in this panel, the captain is being alerted that there might be an infiltration on the base. And then he's getting a little upset that that is happening. So I am working on this Ori character here. Spectre Comics is a space adventure with my Spectre characters. See in the thumbnail, right in the corner of this broadcast, you see Spark and Prox. They're the two main characters of the story, but the Spectre are a team, and the team works together on these space missions. And again, in this mission, they're going into or in search of their missing colleagues. So although it's a space adventure, I try to insert humor into this. I like adding humor to my stories. The basis of, whoops, I drew on the wrong layer. The basis of my stories is, it's kind of like, I created this character when I was very young, and he evolved, and when I wanted him to have a story. Spark was the main character's name. Again, the character in the bottom right corner or left corner, depending on which side you're looking on, the main character of the story. And originally he was just a character I drew. He didn't have much backstory, and I wanted to kind of give him a story because I was drawing him all the time, and obviously he's evolved over the years. I drew him when I was a little kid, pretty much, in grade school. It was the first time I remember drawing this character in 6th grade. He didn't quite look like this back then, but he evolved over the years. He wasn't even he was just kind of an alien, but I never really thought of him as a space explorer. But then when I read Calvin and Hobbes and Calvin Always had that adventure where he was Spaceman Spiff. I just thought that I loved the character Spaceman Spiff, and I wanted to kind of create my character to be just like Spaceman Spiff. So he would go on space adventures. He flew around in a little saucer ship, and originally this character had just a saucer ship. But then as I kind of expanded the story and added more characters to it, I needed a bigger vessel for them to travel around in, and created the Zebulon, which is their main ship. And I don't think I have a picture of that right now, but I can probably pull one up in a bit. So Spectre Comics has evolved over a lot of years, and this current story I'm working on, I've been working on for a long time, probably about over 10 years was when the first issue was printed. And now that I'm on issue 7 and with one more to go, and to be honest with you, I haven't finished writing the story. I know how it ends, but I got to kind of figure out how all the pieces come together to reach the conclusion. And there's just a lot to figure out before I get there. And I have part of the script started, but I haven't quite finished it yet. And I'm going to kind of sit down very soon and just flesh it out so that I can start sketching it. Now that I'm done with the pencils for issue 7 here and I'm working on the inks, I can focus on writing that story, you know, when I'm not sitting here at my desk working on a comic. So, you know, I just try to work on it in my spare time. I don't have a ton of time to work on this comic, but been doing YouTube for a couple of years, and now the original purpose of my channel was to work on this comic and try to grow the audience for it. So, and actually find it hard to talk and draw at the same time because I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing. But it's actually easier to ink than it is to draw from scratch. When I was working on, I did a bunch of videos where I was doing the pencils, and I used the videos of the pencils to help make me make content for the channel, but also to finish the pencils. And in a couple of weeks, I had like 10 pages to go, and in a couple of weeks, I did 10 videos, finished the pencils, which had been sitting for a long time. I started the pencils a long time ago, probably over a year ago. And then I was able to do the last 10 pages in probably about a month, and I made 10 videos out of it. And but it's much harder to talk about what you're doing when you're drawing, because when you start with a blank piece of paper, you're working to try to figure out, you know, here's the script, how do I translate that to the layout on the page, and you know, you're thinking. But once you lay out the page, once you lay out the page, and what you can see here is the underlay of the pencils kind of sketched out in the background. My process is I quickly sketch the pencils, lay out a page. It takes me about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to lay out a comic page in pencils. And again, really scribbly, laid out really quickly. I try to put detail in there, but I'm really just trying to get the idea down on paper. I take that and I scan it in, and then I create it as a layer on my comic page. And the comic page, this is a formatted template I use to set the pages up quickly. I insert that pencil in. I put it about 50% opacity so that I could kind of see through it. You can see it's very light. And then I create layers over it. And the way I work is that every layer is a different thing. So these characters, the Ori soldiers, are one layer. The captain's on another layer. The backgrounds are on another layer. It just depends. And I do that so I can turn them on and off quickly and isolate them. So that is what I'm doing. I also keep references around because I don't draw these characters all the time, so I kind of forget like how to draw them. So I have here next to me the previous issue, and I'm just kind of looking at the characters to remember exactly how I drew them in the past. These uniforms have a little bit of detail on them, and I want to make sure that I'm consistent. So that's what I'm doing. I originally, as I was researching on how to live stream, especially doing an art live stream, I was hearing a lot of people say, you know, expect your first live stream to suck. So I'm fully prepared for that. It looks like I had a couple people in here watching and already left, but that's okay. The nice thing is that this becomes a video afterwards and people can watch it afterwards. So it took me a while to kind of figure out how to set up stream. I've got OBS Studio going. I'm working on Photoshop on my tablet. I'm using a Wacom 13 HD tablet. Someday I'm going to get a bigger tablet. This one seems kind of small, but they're just very expensive. So I need to save a little money before I buy a new tablet. And another thing about doing these live streams is that the process of drawing goes super slow. It is very... Plus, when I'm drawing here, and I try to zoom out every so often so you can see the whole page. But when I'm zoomed in, trying to put some detail in a page, like I'm working on this character's chest plate here, it's very kind of boring to like be very zoomed in. But I need to be zoomed in so I could see, you know, focus on a little small area and put the detail in. The nice thing about working on a tablet is you can zoom way in and get very detailed with, you know, drawing up to 1 pixel thick. You can't do that when you're drawing on paper, but I don't know. It would get boring to just, if you were just staring at this the whole time as you're watching. Hard to watch that stream unless I was talking about something completely compelling that would make you stay. That's okay. When I'm drawing straight lines in Photoshop, I like to use the marquee tools, and then I use the stroke to create straight lines. Probably a better way to do it, but that's the way I've always done it. Found it good for what I'm doing. I've got my tablet programmed with a lot of the settings I like to use to make it easier. I do have a video on my channel about my settings. Some of the tools I use, some of the buttons on the side of the tablet, you know, undo is a big one because you're constantly undoing errors that you make when you draw, and also delete. So I can highlight an area and just hit that side button, delete. Marquee tool, the marquee tool also allows me to create odd shapes and just fill them in. That works out pretty well. I don't know why I put so much detail in this chest plate. I was kind of thinking Darth Vader's little chest plate with all the buttons and lights. But having to draw it a bunch of times is kind of a pain. Having to do it at this weird angle too. It's done with this. I think I have one oval to draw, and I can also do ovals. Can transform the selection. Put it over here. Apply a stroke to it. Pretty much got all of it there. And I don't know. So the NFL started today. I'm a Bears fan. I live in Chicago. The Bears actually won today, which was good because they got their new quarterback started, but the game didn't start out so good. Started watching the game, and I haven't really watched football in years because it's been so bad. But it was exciting this year because they got a brand new quarterback, the #1 pick in the draft. was exciting, but they really stunk it up in the first half. So I stopped watching the game, and I was kind of monitoring it on my phone most of the day, and then so we went out around, doing some errands and stuff. But they ended up winning the game. No, I guess Houston, Tennessee. They played Tennessee. Tennessee just scored a bunch in the first half and then just kind of fell off the map. So it was nice to see the Bears win. Nice to see the Packers lose the other night. And I'm hoping for a decent season. I'd like to see them make the playoffs this year. But having a rookie quarterback, you never know what you're going to get. Even Peyton Manning had a terrible first year. So, God, it's taking a long time to just work on this one character. My cat just sneezed over there in the corner. These Ori's characters have been in the comic a little bit. They've drawn them a little bit. They actually made the cover of my last issue because they're starting to become more prominent in the story. But now that we're on this asteroid in the middle of a remote area of space in the story, they're going to be everywhere. And a lot of the story takes place in the mines. And this part of the story also has a lot of different groups of characters in different places. So I kind of constantly have to shift scenes in order to allow the reader to follow what each set of characters is doing. So my process of drawing on a tablet also is I will scribble kind of the shape of the character. You notice that some of the lines up here are really scratchy and not clearly defined, even up here in the hand. I draw the lines and then I kind of shave away. There's probably better pen types I could use to get a better line, but with using pixels, and it's what I'm used to, I don't use vectors. It's just what I got used to over time. Maybe someday I will change. I did download Procreate to my tablet, but I have not sat down and tried to learn how to use it yet. I have some friends who swear by it and love the program, and it looks like you can do some really interesting things with it, but I've just not learned the software yet. And I did try a few things, just doing some quick drawings with it. I bought a nice new iPad last year, and I got an Apple Pencil, and I was excited to use it, but I just have not sat down to work on it. There's a couple of good YouTube channels that just do Procreate and show you how to use it. And I would actually like to learn. I just don't have a lot of time, and learning new skills takes time. I actually bought a guitar a long time ago because I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I bought some programs to try to learn how to do it, and I still have not sat down to learn how to play guitar. So I've got this guitar sitting in the corner of my room over there that's just gathering dust. Someday. I keep saying when I'm retired I'm going to learn how to do all this new stuff. But who knows when that will be. I'm only 50. Unless I come into some mad money, I won't be retiring anytime soon, but see what happens. I have a lot of difficulty drawing hands. I actually have planned to make a video on why I can't draw hands and why hands are so difficult to draw. It's just the weird shape of them, you know. I've watched lots of tutorials on how to draw hands, and I can just never feel confident in drawing them. I do my best. I kind of fudge my way through it, but it's really hard to draw sometimes. Got the stream running on my tablet next to me. Make sure everything's working. I think the sound is okay. Sound is a bit low. Thank you. How's that? Does that sound better? Ghost Pepper, appreciate it. Okay, I think that's better. Oh, appreciate it. Does that sound better? Sorry, I have my my tablet on one of my other channels sitting here, and I had the sound low so it wouldn't interfere with the broadcast. But anyway, but as I was saying, hands are hard to draw. I just am not good at it. I really just fudge it all the time. But and here I am now drawing a hand. A lot of my characters have 3-fingered hands, so probably even harder to copy a real hand. I don't know why I think I like 3-fingered hands. I used to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the time. In fact, if you look at the shorts on my channel, there's a ton of turtle drawings in the shorts for fun. And turtles have the 2 fingers with the thumb, and I always liked that, so I always thought it was cool. That's why my Spectre characters have only 2 fingers as well. 2 fingers, a thumb, and I just like odd hands, I guess. Oops. Keep zooming around. When I work on my comic, I tend to jump around on the page a lot. I kind of work on the whole thing at once. That's why there's a lot of different areas of this page already completed. And I've said this in one of my videos, if you've seen any of my videos, but like the facility up here, this is actually a SketchUp model. Where's the layer for that? I think I moved it. So I build these SketchUp models, and then I take snips of them, and I bring them into my comic, and I just use them as an underlay. I think it's up here. So I'm going to bring this layer up so you can see it. I don't know how it got back down there. I think I didn't save last time I moved it. Okay, so there's the SketchUp model. So I basically built the model a while ago, and then I took a snippet of it and I put it in here, and then I trace it. I've drawn this building a bunch of times. I'm just trying to save time because these comic pages take an awful long time to work on. And my goal today was to go for about 30 minutes. I'm at about 25 minutes. So this was really just a test broadcast to see if it worked, if anybody would watch. Just a couple people watching, so I appreciate you guys. And this character here, the captain here, I designed this character recently, and I have not drawn him a lot, so I'm still kind of learning how to draw him. He looks a little small. This character needs to be larger because he's got to be the most intimidating of all the Ori. He's the captain. He's got to look like he's brutal and large, so this is really just kind of a stand-in for the final character. The final character looks more like this. I have a whole video where I explained the design for him, where I actually was designing him. And but I haven't, I drew this quite a while ago, and I haven't drawn him since, so I have to kind of go back and learn how to draw them again because it's been a while. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer here. There we go. It really helps to have the underlay, the pencils there. But there was a couple of pages in the last comic where I sketched something out, but when I got to the final page, when I started inking, and I looked at the pencils and I brought them in, I basically changed the whole thing. So I could have I changed so much on that page that having the underlay didn't help at all. The only thing it did for me was separate the page into 3 different panels. It was 3 vertical stacked panels. And I think I did a video a while ago where I compared pencils to final inks, and that was one of the examples where I was like, this one's completely different than the final, because it wasn't anywhere near what I wanted to show. The scene was actually on this asteroid, and the prisoners were getting unloaded from the vessel, a ship, and as they were getting unloaded, you kind of saw the ship from different angles, and you saw all the characters getting unloaded, all the prisoners getting unloaded so they could get processed and then be sent to work in the mines. And it was just, maybe I was just lazy when I was doing the pencils, but it was completely different. And I also built a model of the landing platform, the ship, in SketchUp, and then I brought all that in, and I was able to use that as an underlay, kind of like I did for the mining facility at the top of this page. And in fact, so here's the mining facility, but if you go down that way, well, you can't see my finger pointing, but if you move to the left on this page, the platform and the ship landing platform is over there. And I've built this whole facility. It's like a nice big set piece for a lot of the scenes that happen on this asteroid. And that just down the way is where that ship lands, and landing on the platform, and then the prisoners get unloaded, and then the ship takes off to go look for more labor out in the galaxy. So I created the ship out of SketchUp. I created the platform, which had a lot of detail, like all the rails, and they look like trusses, the rails around the platform. And I had to draw all that stuff when I made the drawing of the platform. And then what I didn't model was the landscape, and because we're on an asteroid, there was a lot of craters, just like what you see out this window here. So the captain's up in his throne room looking out at the asteroid, and obviously you could see the rocky landscape and the craters that are all around. And so around the platform also is a lot of craters, and that was a lot of detail that I had to put in there. It took a lot of time, but it looked really good when I was done. I gotta clean this up. So the chest plate, they wear this like armor that goes around. I always try to create these characters that are overreact, so that's what the captain's doing here, and the Ori character next to him is kind of reacting to the overreaction, and so I'm just trying to make it like look funny, and that's why he's kind of angled off to the side off the page here. And referring to my little sheet here, he's got a belt. I was wondering if my computer could handle a stream, because there is a delay. There's a little bit of lag when I'm drawing. But it seems to be okay. Maybe I'll get a better computer. And I gotta fix this arm too. I have two of the buttons on my tablet to be increase and decrease the size of the pen. So I could easily, so I don't have to go to the slider all the time, and I can be a little more precise. So I just press the button up or down. In order to increase or decrease the number of pixels the pen is. Makes it much quicker. Was one of the tips I had for how I set my tablet up. I also have my pen set up. There's a little button on the pen here, and I set the button, when you hit it, it pans automatically. So I can press the button and the hand shows up, and then I can pan the drawing. That also saves a lot of time because you're constantly just moving the page around just to slightly move it up or down. So I like that. Anyway, I have gone 30 minutes, which was my goal. If you stopped in, I appreciate anyone who stopped in to the stream to watch. This is the first stream. I think it was pretty successful. I didn't know if I'd be able to chat or talk at the same time as I was drawing, but even talking to yourself, it's even fine. Anyone who stopped in, I appreciate it. Ghost Pepper, thanks for letting me know the sound was too low because I couldn't tell. But thanks for watching. We'll do this again real soon. I'll start creating a schedule, and I'll probably start doing this regularly. So thank you, and we'll talk to you next time.